And we are joined now by Sergeant Shamar Thomas, who's in our New York studio. Sergeant Thomas, watching that video, you look angry. You're shouting, and it seems, though, like police are listening. What made you so angry?
How you doing, Christine? What made me angry was to see the police hurting unarmed protesters that I haven't seen, become violent with the police or dangerous to anybody else that was in the populace.
These were peaceful protesters, as you mentioned. This was one of the reasons that the Occupy Wall Street movement got so much coverage and really gained in support because of what we saw, police using their batons, police using pepper spray. In this video that we've seen on YouTube, you're saying if you want to fight, go to Iraq, go to Afghanistan. What do you mean by this?
Well, what I meant by it was that, this country has an ongoing war that, I don't necessarily agree with. I don't agree with, actually. But to hurt the citizens that you swear to protect, is kind of a contradiction to the oath that you take as, a police officer to, be courteous and professional.
Sort of a contrast, of course, with what you were dealing with. Tell us a little bit about your service. I know that you were, I believe, in Fallujah in Iraq, and also you come from a long line of military people in your family, just cross generations. Talk a little bit about this. I mean, you and your parents, your grandparents have been fighting for freedom. Put that into perspective with what you have seen in New York on Occupy Wall Street protests.
My mother, she did 20 years in the military. I grew up on military bases, all across the United States. And my grandfather, he was a director of Veterans Affairs in New York City. My great-grandfather was a Navy cook in World War II. He faced discrimination. So I've lived all over the world, all over the country, because of my parents, being in the military. So I've always had that, pride in my country and what we're about. I've always thought that America was the greatest country in the world, and the Constitution that we have is, one of the best. But as I served in Iraq, I started, seeing things that, that were unjust as far as, why we were there, what we were doing there. We were there to win the hearts and minds. I was involved in a riot in Iraq where the local populace threw rocks at us. And after the rock throwing was done, we didn't, go in the crowd and start beating and arresting people. So to come back to my own country and see the police doing this to the people that I went to Iraq to protect, was, a big contradiction, and, I'm not going to stand for it. My family, is totally supportive of what I'm doing and this whole movement because, they served, over 60 plus years in the military, and, they're still struggling to get by and still struggling to, make ends meet, and, in this economy. And, a lot of people are saying that, they're not self-reliant. I don't understand. I can't see how 60 plus years in the military is not self-reliant. So, as a part of the 99%, I think it's my duty as a leader, as somebody who, chose to protect and serve this country to, continue my job. It's not a oath that I take lightly and that stopped once I left the Marine Corps.
Some really interesting things you said there. First of all, being in Iraq, having people actually threaten your safety, and you not lashing out to them and coming back and seeing this behavior by police has got to be frustrating. Let me ask you, because I watched this video a few times, and I looked in the police officers' eyes, I looked at their faces. They're not only listening, it seems like they're thinking about what you're saying. Take us back to that day. What was the reaction by these police officers who were standing around, and were they digesting what you were saying?
From my personal opinion, I believe that it was a mixture of, not understanding what to do, and then, they started understanding what I was saying, and I think it started resonating with them that, they really do have a duty, and that badge doesn't give them, the right to hurt these people. And I think that it took a person like myself, who has led and has been through the trials and tribulations of war and understands what it feels like to be in an actual riot where people don't like you, to speak out against it. And I think more veterans around the United States should, come out and help. Not even the United States, because this is global, but they should go out and help these protesters and give them a voice.
Certainly, you look nothing like the dirty hippies we keep hearing are part of this movement on Wall Street and on main streets around the country. I want to ask you, today an important announcement came down, of course, by President Obama that all U.S. troops will be leaving Iraq by the end of this country. When you heard that today, at the end of the year, when you heard that today, what was your reaction?
Well, I just heard that news a few hours ago. I'm shocked and amazed, and I applaud President Obama on doing that. We should have been going a long time ago. I hope he decides to stop the war in Afghanistan and all other countries that we're involved in, because coming home to America, I don't see how the war has changed our way of life. The economy is not better. People's attitudes about the wars are not better, and it just doesn't make any sense to continue losing innocent lives of America's youth.
But put this in a little bit of perspective for me. Of course, one of the main demands, one of the main protests by people on Occupy Wall Street is that this system change. You have served your country. You said your parents have served this country, and this struggle is hitting you personally in that things are not easy for you. You're having trouble finding a job. The war in Iraq might be ending for real this time, but talk about what you see ahead in this country and what you really think needs to change, especially in light of some of those things you were yelling at Occupy Wall Street.
Well, what I feel about it is that every American has something that they feel, is wrong with the government, and we're all right. That's why there's no one clear message to the Occupy Wall Street movement, which is global, because we globally we all have issues with the 1%, destroying the world for the rest of us. So, this is our opportunity to voice, our opinions. And people need to take this opportunity and go support their local occupation, because we can't leave it into the hands of senators and congressmen or, higher echelon government officials to just one day wake up and fix everything. We have to use our voices. Everything that you feel about what's going on with your government is right, and you need to go out there and voice it. Without you going down and supporting, you will never be heard. People will continue to control our lives. They control the air we breathe, the water we drink, and we need to have a say in that. And without them going down and supporting, we will never have a say. So, the biggest thing that I would say that I feel is that the people that actually, put their blood, sweat, and tears into this country need to be the ones that are benefiting from this country. We have a lot of people in this country, that are not getting up at 6 a.m. cleaning the streets or going to war zones, fighting for their lives for, $1,900 a month, and then to come home and, they have nothing but, a GI Bill to go to college, where once you get out of college, your odds of getting a job are still slim. So I think we need to just overall just go out and support and voice your own opinions, because, I'm just one person, and I'm just a part of the 99%. I just want to inspire people and veterans to go out and protect these people.
Well, it certainly sounds like you are inspiring people, Shamar. You said you thought maybe your words were resonating with police. It seems like they're resonating with people who are clicking on this video. Almost 2 million hits. Maybe by now it's been 2 million hits on this video. Why do you think so many people are watching this?
I think so many people are watching is the words that I say and the passion and the emotion that I have. Like I tell people all the time, it's a difference when you do something and then when you love something. I have a passion for this country. I've lived my whole life, around the world on army bases, where I've been surrounded by people who are passionate Americans who are very patriotic. So that patriotic blood runs through my veins, and I'm trying to inspire people, because it's like, why don't you care? Why continue to allow the things that are wrong to continue happening? We need to do something about it, and somebody has to voice their opinion.
Certainly a question a lot of people are asking. Thanks so much for joining us, Iraq War veteran Sergeant Shamar Thomas.